Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We're here. I'm Jenna. This is Aubrea, and we are here with our friend Meredith and author and new friend Alison Robinson, who wrote Shadowless. So, and we are in Alison's home. Thank you.
Yes,
for
So
welcome.
generous to invite us to your home.
This is where the
Yes.
book was written.
Yes.
Yes. Very exciting. So we've been hearing about this book, and we knew that Alison was a local author. So I reached out, I guess, a couple of months ago
Yeah.
now, and got us some books, and we met for coffee. And Alison was just delightful and just so generous with her time. And so,
And Meredith and Allison know each other.
From church. She takes care of my child recently at Sunday school.
So it was delightful for me to have my two book club worlds collide when Meredith is like, I'm going to read Shadowless. I'm like, Jenna's reading Shadowless. Let's do this.
Yes.
Love it.
So let's give a little synopsis. Normally we kind of do this together, but since we have the author, would you give a little synopsis of Shadowless? And
Yes. So my little pitch is it takes place in a fantasy world where every person is born sharing their soul with an animal companion called a shadow that's capable of magic. And our main character, Rowena, is born with a ghost for a shadow that has no magic. And so it's an adventure, a fantasy, a light romance, a bit of a mystery. Yeah, there you go.
And she's Ghost is the only non-animal shadow.
Yes. Yeah. Every other person has an animal for a shadow, which is fun because who doesn't want an animal companion that follows them around?
Right.
it makes everyone in this book is a Disney princess.
Yes.
Basically.
There's a little sidekick that goes with them.
Although some of the I'm sorry, this is not a spoiler, but the one person that Shadow was a fish and she had to carry around a fish bowl, I was like, that would be such a nightmare.
Okay, so this is, I don't even know if you'll want to have this in the thing. Have you all seen the movie Titanic?
Yes.
Okay, the opening at the beginning before you go back in time and see the story, the old lady comes on the boat with a fish in a bowl. That is where that idea comes from. Old Lady Rose brings her stinking fish on this boat.
That's so funny.
I was just like, how extra do you have to be to insist on like someone needs to take care of that?
I have to say, my best friend was in that movie.
What?
He was in Titanic. Yes, he
I
was
love
the
that
guy.
movie.
He was one of Leo's cabin mates. So like when he
okay,
runs
yeah.
on the boat, he's the guy who's like,
Huh?
"Where is Sven?"
Yeah,
That's Yari.
I know exactly. I just recently watched Titanic. And
He's
so
doing the arm wrestling scene at
Yeah.
the bottom of the
Oh my
boat.
gosh, that's funny.
He's like all through. Sometimes like we made a drinking game of it. Me and my girlfriend, like, hey, every time we see Yari,
take a drink.
So I hope he
Hoping-
doesn't watch this.
You can edit it out. It's okay.
So, all right. So we're going to get into our discussion and we're going to start off. We're going to jump right in. So if you haven't read it, tread
Spoilers.
Yeah,
cautiously.
the spoilers are
Spoilers.
strong. I have one question because
Okay.
we can add the spoiler in after this. But if you, all of us, had a shadow, what would your shadow animal
The
be?
greatest question. Yeah. Anyone know?
I have a theory.
Okay.
I feel like the basic animal form, because you know we know that like the owl changed and whatever, but it's sort of very much representative of the person. Like Penelon has a fox.
Yeah.
Foxes are sly and cunning, very smart, like Penelon. And I think the same thing, like Roderick has the big dog.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Harris's spaniel's always described as having sad eyes because Harris is sad.
Yeah.
I just had a thought that Rowena has a ghost because it's like she's embodying like the ghost of her mother. Like that's why it takes that form that she wants her mother. There's like a sadness of, and she doesn't even realize it, that it's like a way of trying, like, I don't have a mother, but I have this. I just thought of that.
That's sweet.
I don't know. What would I be? My soul be?
I've been able to think about this a lot
What is
for years.
yours?
And so I wish I could say something like wonderful, like a crane or like I love big birds. But my husband was like, it would be a house cat. I completely have the personality of a house cat of I'm cuddly one minute and I'm like, don't touch me, don't look at me, don't even be in the same room as me. Like it's a cat. 100%. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know.
I was thinking about this, and I don't remember if it was you that I was talking to about this on the phone or you, but I was like, I was going way too far with this animal thing. I'm like, what if it was like a kimono dragon? or like, how inconvenient would it be if it was like a giraffe and you had to like build special doors for it to, you know?
That would be super inconvenient. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would be specifically like a Labrador Retriever.
Yeah.
Like the not like super smart, but like loyal to a fault.
Everyone loves them. Like,
and I like a good run and a good workout. Like,
yeah, I love that.
Sometimes get the zoomies and then think
There you go. I'm not gonna be able to not see that in my head. Right? The zoomies are thinking that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because I knew I wanted to ask everybody, and I'm like, I don't have an answer for myself. The only like maybe other than just like being something absolutely ridiculous like an elephant is like a deer.
Yeah,
because I really love deer, and I don't know what that says about my personality, but
it's great.
I don't know.
I love Christmas.
I would probably be like something that's really nosy.
Ooh.
Because I always want to know, and I'm always digging for
like a raccoon or something.
like a raccoon. I thought about that. Raccoons are really cute.
Yeah.
Or maybe a fox, because foxes are always into stuff too. So
you know, an otter maybe.
Yeah. Could be, yeah. So I'd probably be something like that because I'm like, I will wake up in the middle of the night with a question. I'm like, I can't wait. I gotta know. Like, so.
Well, you could be an owl.
I
Because
could.
owls are like
Owls. Well, that's the thing. Titus is an owl, but owls, they have this reputation for being wise old owls, but they're not very bright.
They're actually kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's what made me think of it when you were talking to us. I said, all of them sort of have similar characteristics to their human counterpart. So,
it's a good question.
We can ask our like followers to tell us what we would be.
We could like all 9 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay, but I had a question related to that. You said that Ghost was the easiest.
We should do all of our spoiler questions here.
What was the hardest character for you to write?
Honestly, Teosek is a very difficult character to write because he is so limited in this story. I have 3 main characters that I follow, which is Rowena, Penelin, and Teosek, and he will have obviously more of a presence in book 2. We're literally traveling with them, but his chapters have to be so succinct and so like it takes a lot of. And there's a lot of characters that we don't get a lot of time with in his scenes, but that I have to create a whole world around him, and I get like 5 pages with him. And so he is a very difficult character to write. And then honestly, Rowena can be very difficult for me, probably because I'm most similar to her. And so I have a problem where I will get very much lost in the weeds with her. Of like, no one cares about this, Alison. Stop. Like, get back to the action, like, because I really care about the pacing and the structure of the book so that it moves along. I hate books that drag, especially with a first novel, like, and so sometimes she just can drag. She's also, because she doesn't have magic, she doesn't have a lot of agency for the book. She takes it for herself later. And so having a character that does things and doesn't just react to the world around her was challenging. But yeah.
And then along this, we're talking about characters. If the book were adapted into a movie, who would you cast?
Oh that's
gosh.
good.
I mean, besides, obviously you have to be Rowena because you're an actress.
She's a very old Rowena. in her 40s. There we go. Oh my God, I don't even know. I don't even know actors now. I mean, I cannot. That would have to think
Who
about
would
that.
you cast?
Who would y'all cast? Who did y'all pick?
I'm not
Picture.
good with names of actors. I'm like that guy from that thing.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll have to come back to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Patricia Arquette as Penelon.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm watching that Murdoch
Yes.
show right now.
Yeah. If she was a bit younger, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's got kind of that stature in that show.
Yes.
You know?
I love
Very
her
much.
as a character.
She's Penelon.
Yes.
Oh, I love Penelon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that okay, this comes up a lot when we talk about books, but I really like when books show like true dynamic female friendships that are not
It's
stereotypes,
rare to find.
because
It's rare to find.
It is rare to find, especially in books, because our individual relationships with each other are none of them are stereotypical. And like the fact that Rowena is like chucking books at her professor, or not her professor, but her mentor's face, like I was just like, this chaotic mess is delightful. So,
but when you're really close to someone, it kind of becomes that. I mean, if you're working side by side.
But they also argue with each other, and they have conflicts with each other.
I don't think you can have two women working that long together and not arguing.
But it's so realistic, you know, in a fantasy book, to see like a female friendship being that realistic was good.
Well, and
how old is Penelon?
So Penelon is in this book is in her mid-20s. Okay. And they talk about at the opening that she's young. Yeah. She's very young for her position. But that she's older than Rowena, and she says when she chooses her, like, well, it's appropriate that you're this much younger than me just because I'm young. Yeah. And so but she's clearly kind of getting into her own in the role. She's fumbling through it a bit in the beginning. But I didn't want there to be too much of an age gap, because there is a friendship, but there's also an authority structure with them. And so, I will say some of my closest female friendships have been with women older than me. That's just been a theme in my life. And it's been so beneficial to me to have women who start out as mentors and become friends. But it starts out in like I'm learning from you, you are teaching me your ways. And then it morphs into a mutual benefiting relationship. And so it was very natural to start out with that hierarchy in the relationship and have it soften as the story progresses throughout the books. So, yeah.
So, Penelon, I have questions. How we find out at the end that Penelon is a princess. So how did she and Bran get connected? Because they talk about being childhood friends. Yes. But yet when we see Bran with his mother, it's described as being not a great part of town where his mother is, and the caretaker and all that. So how did they...
Yeah, that's explored in book 2, because we're going to Riven, and so we're going to see where they come from, and we're going to see more of his mom. But he's a guard, and so she would have met him through his job in the castle.
And is her brother, is he the one who caused her to be forgotten by Bran, by everyone, that no one is even aware that there is a princess?
There's a little line, if you catch it, in the scene where she's throwing cherry pits at him, where he talks about her brother's powerful persuasive magic. Yes. It's just a very quick line, and she cuts him off and shoots him. But yeah.
Yeah, and is he mad? Because when we see the scene with Titus and Rowena are looking in the silver glass, and then they hear the crying and the whatever, and then they see the mad eyes, and then Ghost jumps over the balcony. And then to find out that he did this to her, he's the reason that no one even knows she's the princess and she's off in Greymere. Is he... And speaking of, is he cuckoo bananas because of his magic? And is that why Penelon has been on this quest to find out how magic affects?
These are great questions. These are such good questions.
You can tell I used to be an investigative journalist. Yes. Ta-da!
These are all great questions that
The
will be
FBI
answered.
really does need you.
The FBI does need me. I'm not too old for them now. Bless their hearts. But
these are all the questions about him. I mean, in this book, you don't see him. You don't see the king. You hear about him. And I intentionally have him just as this thing that exists that obviously is influencing so much of the book, but we won't see him until book 2.
Okay, this might be a little naive question, but is he the actual king that during the festival they read the story about how he went to the dragon, and that's basically how is he the literal that person, or is he a descendant?
No, that's a question that it's not really a spoiler. It will be explained, part of the myth. But that is the story of how people got shadows, and each king or queen who is crowned is what they say united with the Basileus. And so they lose their shadow to be united with the Basileus once they become crowned. And so that will be part of the mythology and part of the story is that process.
Are there other dragons?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that means that at one point there was just one being. And then once there was this merger, that making a deal, Aubrey is real big about don't make deals. Then there was a schism where now the soul is external.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, they have magic, but in a way, does that make you more vulnerable? And then what we saw with Crayfog with his the reason he was using so much magic and everything, that I guess is why he looked like he'd been dead for months, even though he died minutes before. So it was just like his body. And Aubrey thought that was kind of, she's like, how can that be? And I was like, well, maybe his magic was sustaining him and keeping him alive. And he's like, but how can the magic both keep him alive and
kill him?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that paradox.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He, like, when I think of him like an addict, a person who just, does something, coming to a point of realizing this is killing me, and I will do everything to do this as long as possible while keeping myself alive just enough so I can continue to do this. And in the mind of an addict, that is very much like finding that balance of
What is Isla?
It's a great question.
Oh,
that's such a good question.
And that is how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah,
Isla?
yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Okay, I've been working. I started this book 6 years ago, and so when I named her back in the first year, I thought I had a great, interesting name for a dog. Y'all, I have met probably a dozen dog Islas since then. I'm like,
that's so funny.
How is this like the most common dog name that I hear now?
I have a friend whose daughter's name is Isla.
Yes, it is so common now that I'm like, okay, well, never mind.
That just means it's a great name.
I guess so.
It's relevant.
I guess so.
That was one of the names I liked when we were picking out little girl names. I like Isla. I think I spelled it a little differently.
Yeah.
Because that's the Spanish spelling. Isla.
Yeah.
But we would say Isla. But yeah, I like the name. I have theories. I have theories.
What are your theories?
They're not full formed. One theory is that it's something to do with, since Rowena's mother died giving birth to her, that maybe some of the magic from Rowena like kept her mom, I guess, alive long enough so that ghost is
that's
actually
a great theory.
Her mother's ghost.
Ooh, that's a really good theory.
I don't know though. Alison, no? That's a bad theory.
That's actually a theory I've heard from 2 other people.
Okay.
Is it actually really annoying when people like
tell
you fan theories? I would think like sometimes
it's actually really satisfying, specifically when people's theories are wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I got you.
I'm achieving it. Yeah. But that I've actually heard that theory from a couple of people, and specifically my early readers, because this book is my 5th draft. And my original book that I queried to agents and publishers was twice this length.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It was huge. It was about the size of the 4th Harry Potter book. It was 175,000 words. And so I had beta readers at that phase who read that version. And so there were the opening scene is of Rowena's birth. And so you actually see her mom. And so that theory was very much like a theory from my early readers.
So with this version, then did you start out with that large book and then pared it down to say, okay, some of this is going to be in the second and third? You said it's going to be 3.
It'll be 3.
Yeah. So
were there any alternate endings or alternate, did you go down any paths and you were like,
yeah, there were definitely alternate beginnings.
Okay.
I had in my first, and this one was really hard, I actually had Rowena having a secret friendship with Gloria as a little girl. And there were entire chapters about her having a secret friendship with her.
And who was, Gloria, the girl.
You just see her like once in this book. She becomes a nothing character, but she actually had a real storyline. She was a whole arc. She had her own chapters and everything, and she wound up getting cut entirely. She might make it into the 3rd book, maybe. I'm not sure.
She's the one that kind of has a crush on Titus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I very much had to change everything about her. But originally, she was actually a really sweet friend, and but for the sake of time and brevity, she had to go. I also had the Myth Keeper had his own chapters and his own point of view, and seeing his arc more in the book, but he had to go.
Made me as the reader hate him less?
You would hate him way more.
Ooh.
You would have hated him way more.
I don't think that was possible.
Who way more?
The Myth Keeper.
Oh, he was so
You would have hated him way more.
Know.
He needs his mom would not be proud of him. Right. So another theory I had is that Ghost might be Rowena's soul, but Rowena contains all her magic within herself. So whereas like Harris and Titus and Roderick, all of them, they have their shadow does the magic. It's the magical part of them. Rowena has it within herself. So that's why Ghost is empty. Because she's an external expression of Rowena's soul. But I thought about that, but then I don't know. And then I thought that maybe there was some sort of mix-up because of the trauma of her birth. And because Ghost is very connected to Isla. She saw Isla come in, and she's always going so. And then I thought something way outlandish. I thought, what if someone hijacked Rowena's shadow, Ghost? Because maybe Isla was cursed, and she's a person, but she got cursed to be this animal, and Ghost is actually her shadow, and that's why she.
Oh,
so I don't know.
That took me a second to
I don't know. I'm like, how would that work? No, so I don't know. I've been thinking, Alison, how long do I have to wait?
Probably not till next fall.
Next fall? Okay.
That's
We can
the goal.
do next fall.
That's the goal.
we got to finish football season. We got Christmas, then we got the World Cup in the summer, and then I'll be ready.
Hopefully, if I can write this and life can stop getting in the way. Yeah.
So, yeah, I have all kinds of theories. I'm sure I can come up with some more.
I finished it last night, so I haven't had enough time to.
Oh, yeah, it's still fresh.
I do think that it has something to do with the fact that her mom died, because there's so much talk, especially at the end, about grief and how it affects you. And then how Harris has some good quotes about how he makes that great comment, like, death is always wrong. And then he talks about how grief affects us in different ways. And, as a mother, we're told, like, when we have our brand new little newborn, that they're aware of more than we think of. So a part of me is, I'm probably wrong, you would know, but I'm like holding on to the idea that the fact that the way she came into the world and her mom, that has something to do with it. Maybe it's the trauma.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
yeah, that is good, because when you
First question that I have is about the cover design. And
Yes.
also the decision on the hardback, unless there's other versions, to not do a dust cover.
Yes. So the cover design, I have an artist, a cover artist. It's his full-time job is doing cover art. And I met him at a conference a couple years ago and loved his work. And so wound up hiring him. Cover artists, fun fact, they never read the book that they do the art for. Like that's super rare. So I just gave him a 1-paragraph synopsis and just basic themes. And this is what he came up with.
Wow.
And it was gorgeous. I mean, we did not have to make any changes at all to it. I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. So
That's awesome.
Wow.
I can't wait to see what he does with book 2 because
Well, we can't either.
yeah. But it is the most beautiful cover.
It is.
So he did such a good job.
And the whole no dust jacket thing.
So that is really, I hate dust jackets. Like as soon as I get a hardback, I take it off.
Me too.
And so, and it's becoming more popular to just print it on the, and so, yeah, these are what you guys have as the locally printed one. On Amazon, they also do one that's identical to it. And then there's also the paperback on Amazon.
That's so funny because I'm the same way. Like I cannot read a book with a dust jacket on, but then I'm like very concerned about where the dust jacket is so it doesn't get messed up.
Yeah.
Because when I'm done with it, I got to put it back on and put it away.
Yeah. So I was glad to have this option. Yeah.
Well, it seems like now too, this is just me being, these guys know, I get very disappointed when I buy a book and then like later a sprayed edge comes out. And it seems, I'm like, oh, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. And so I didn't know I was so materialistic until that started happening. And, but it seems like now if you're going to do a dust jacket, you also have to print on the book. Like it's got the,
you have to do both because I've ordered some special editions that have this beautiful dust jacket, whatever, but then you take it off and it's pretty, like, and then they have the reversible dust jackets, or you can do it, they call it the naked covers.
Yeah.
I like it all. As long as it's pretty, you know. My husband just got one of his new books that he published, and he's an academic, so they're more, and I'm like, oh, he's like, isn't it great? I'm like, I'm like, now, if you did like a golden foil edge, then you could put it on the bookshelf with my books. But at the moment, it can't hang, you know.
Funny.
So he's like, these are academic books. Not enough people read that. I'm like, okay. So, I really liked it. I have to ask, the name Rowena, did you get that from Ivanhoe, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm?
That is a nod to my Hogwarts house, Ravenclaw.
Oh,
Rowena Ravenclaw.
Oh, okay.
So, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a Ravenclaw too.
Okay, wait. Actually, I have questions on all the names. Like, are there like? Can you?
They come. I do have like some of them are very random how I chose them, and so yeah. Which ones are you wondering about?
What's the cave?
Crayfog.
Yes,
Thank you. I have no idea how to say that.
So my husband and I went to Scotland years ago, and I just loved all of their slang terms. Like they just have a bunch of slang terms, and there's one word called, like, it's like crabbit or something like that, or crabbit, but it's spelled similarly, and I just loved that word. It means a cranky old person, and so I just kind of did a variation of that for the name that I thought it was just a cool word that I just kind of became obsessed with. And so, yeah.
I love it.
I'm glad I was reading that right.
Yeah.
So that was one of the questions. I was like, am I reading this right? But
yeah.
Is the dad's name Horace or Harris?
Harris.
Okay.
Oh, Harris. Okay.
We got.
It doesn't. I don't care about the pronunciations. Yeah.
I overthought it. I was like, well, it's got the 2 A's like Haggis, so maybe it's Hart.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. What about, how do you say that word? Is it Shadway?
Yeah, the Shedway or Shedway. Either one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Some of the words have Greek origin, some of them have Gaelic origin, and some of them have Hebrew origin.
Okay.
And so, and shade is shadow. In I want to say Gaelic. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice. I have a big question. What is Ghost?
She's a shadow.
But she's not, because there was that scene where in the library where Titus and Rowena have their first kiss, and Bran is coming upon them, and he's using his intuition, and he's like, there are two people, one shadow and something else. The something else we know is Isla.
Mhm.
So we did not pick up on ghosts at all.
Well, Crayfog says that too, because he was like, "Oh, you have a real heartbeat," because he thought that if
Someone
a
was
person
coming
doesn't,
without their
that it
shadow.
might be.
She's definitely different. Yeah, and a bit, and they talk about, I think Harris talks about it the most, of her being broken or sort of empty. And so, yeah. I really liked playing around with the idea of souls being externalized in the book and being able to be a bit more literal than maybe we would do in theology or psychology, where we talk more spiritually and emotionally. I liked taking those concepts and putting it much more literal and external with a shadow. And so having a soul that's a bit deformed and broken, I think is something that some people experience and feel internally. And so doing that externally and having Rowena's character be someone who has to explore that over the course of her story of what does that mean, I just found interesting to explore.
So that begs the question, if Titus no longer has a shadow and that's an expression of their soul, like an external soul, can he really live without a soul? Because from a theological standpoint, we would say no. If you do live without a soul, you're basically like a zombie. You're not. But of course, this is a work of fiction. It's not a work of theology, so that the rules could be different. But what are your thoughts?
So that's really where you start out in book 2. I'm working on book 2 right now, and that's where I've been with Rowena and Titus. Of obviously something has been terribly damaged with him, and we end book 1 where he is unconscious,
Right,
and has to say so, because we just saw what Roderick was like when he woke up in that state.
Yeah.
And so the opening of book 1 is dealing with Titus in this state. And really the entire second book will be dealing with Titus in this state. So
as the reader, are we, like, I had two thoughts, and two characters like discussed it about Roderick's reaction to not having a soul and basically like jumping out the window and into the river and all that. Is that, I mean, is it because he was in so much physical pain like the other characters experience when they have physical distance from their shadow, or was it something else?
I think it's really up for interpretation, anyone reading. I think it allows readers to think about their own heart. If they were to discover a part of themselves severed and destroyed and waking up with that state, the reaction would be, if they survived it, would be devastating. And for him to be such a large physical creature, I mean, he really does become wild at that point. And inconsolable of living was intolerable in that state, to wake up to that suddenly. And so it would be interesting to see different characters experience that, to see what their reaction would be. That's probably not something I'll be exploring much, except for with Titus. But yeah, I think that kind of heart destruction. And I have a background in counseling, and so like in counseling, you're dealing with clients who are talking about things on a soul level, and just the theme is constantly feeling broken, damaged, like something's going on in here, and how do we find healing, how do we find wholeness? And then from a theological perspective, as well as a believer, of that's the whole point of Christianity and faith and belief is answering those questions too. And so to explore that through shadows and through this external thing that you can interact with, and most of the time it's kind of fun, and sometimes it can be really serious and devastating in the case of Roderick and Titus.
So okay, so I guess we still have to wait and see what happens with Ghost, because she was so cute and you just love her. But then it is kind of sad too that Rowena can't talk with her. She doesn't have that connection, which almost is, you're talking about the counseling, it's almost like someone being out of touch with themselves. Like not being able to connect with a vital part of who they are.
Okay, I have a question on that note.
Yeah.
Okay.
I texted Meredith this, and I texted you this, and I was like, I don't even know what percent in, but I'm like, I just want to know what Ghost is thinking. Like, I wanted to hear from her point of view because she's so, like, as a character that has no dialogue, she certainly communicates.
Yeah.
You know, she's like slapping people around and like
Pulling his hair.
Yeah, ripping Crayfog's hair out, and then even like towards the end when Rowena's just like, I'm in depression and I don't want to move. She's like, open this door right now. And then also she's like clearly had some kind of, I don't know if it's intuition magic or just what, but she clearly knew that somebody was coming to the door, you know, prior to that festival and everything. So there's obviously more going on with Ghost than her just being like this, you know,
thing,
animated like creature. But when you were writing it, did you like in your mind have internal dialogue for what Ghost was doing, like her decision to rip out Crayfog's hair?
Yeah, Ghost is probably the easiest character for me to write. Ghost and Penelon are always the easiest characters for me. I don't know why, but they are. The story in the earliest nugget, my earliest ideas, Ghost was my very first character. And the story has always been about, how do I save Ghost? Like, how do I get her where she needs to get? And so though she is kind of a background character that has her shining moments, it's really about all the other characters. The story will ultimately be about getting her where she needs to get, and specifically Rowena and her together. And so, but no, she has been this silent thing. And I have in book 2 a scene coming up with her where we do get a chapter from her perspective. Yes, and I can't wait. But I really, there's going to be all that building, so you get it, you're going to be like, oh, yes, thank you. But you know, she's just my illustrator who did the illustrations at the opening of every chapter. She read the book, and she's a fantasy writer too, and was super enthusiastic and like my biggest fan there when no one was reading it because it was just this thing that lived on my computer. She's like Pixar level cute. I was like, she is. I love Ghost. She is. So yes,
if you were to describe Ghost's personality, is she more animal animated or more, because like she's the only non-animal shadow, and obviously in other fantasy novels and just, you know, ghosts are kind of more people. So is she kind of like a combo, or is she more
that will
human or more animal?
So all of them are more human than animal. And that will be explored more in book 2.
We would go down that path with Fern, like talking about like her grief and stuff, which that was one of my questions, sort of, about characters. So Fern was the most surprisingly controversial character in my opinion.
Okay.
Because she lied to her husband for so long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was that hard to write, or was there any other scenes that where you're like, this is really hard to write?
No, Fern. So that is fleshed out way more in my original draft. I had so much more time in that original draft to really flesh out more of that. And so it had to get truncated much more. And really, Fern is a complicated character because simultaneously, like, she's such a good mom. She's so sweet. She's so instantly welcoming to Rowena. But she's also kind of morally gray in that she lied to her husband. She also uses persuasive magic on her family.
And Rowena.
But I'm also thinking about certain women that I know that would 100% do that in order to create a peaceful home. And if they had that magic with their family,
really wrong?
And that's kind of the question, like, is that wrong? And I think about just dynamics in families and the really, really loving mothers who just, their identity is being a mom. You give them magic over someone's emotions and mind. I could see that as a very real problem for moms. And
at first tantrum, you're like, hold on.
Yes. And so, and what does that do with the mother-child relationship? And so, yeah, so she's kind of a morally gray character, and that she's so sweet, but also like, oh, you lied to your husband, but she, rationalized it, and
and you bring up like a great point too, because like you thought of the tantrums. My mind went to, well, helping my kids socially, like because that's you can do all the tutoring and everything else you want, and like help them academically, but socially, like you can't be there on the playground
and telling yourself that you're doing a good thing. Is it a good thing? I would say no. But you can really rationalize of like, well, but I'm helping them, even though I'm taking away their self-will.
It's like helicopter mom 2.0.
Yeah, if we had magic.
Yeah.
That would be a problem. Yeah. Which really, I mean, with Titus, that means that he is not really ever suffered much. So when he finally does, he has no frame of reference to handle it.
How is it? I had that question because obviously him and his brother are handling. I mean, granted, his shadow has been traumatized, so I understand that. But even just the death of their father, they're handling it totally differently.
I think people handle grief totally differently.
And Titus is younger.
But yet you could argue he'd always been kind of the more mature one than Bruce, in a way.
In a way, but he's also never been away from home. He's obviously got a different relationship with his dad because he was never the troublemaker, not really, compared to his brother. And so, and he was very sheltered, very protected by his mom, has kind of always been a town darling. And so he had no way of dealing with grief, had never experienced anything like that. And it wrecks him. And Bruce, he's just, and this shows up in his story a lot of just, he's kind of just always moving to the next thing. Just constant. And so that's how he deals with this. He just moves to the next thing.
Yeah, moves on.
So my question here, is Titus actually the Shadowless?
That is the question at the end, because he has no shadow and is showing up to the wandering on the back of Isla.
And he's still alive.
And he's still alive, technically.
Granted, he's in a potion-induced coma.
Yeah.
But he's still alive.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to learn more in the next book about the wandering. I mean, we got some of their background that so clarify for me, because this is still book one. They got condemned to wander, like never have a home, because they protested this whole joining with the Basileus, right?
Because they believed in this prophecy. They believed, so they have this song that's in one of the chapters where they present this, what happened, where a character, some say it was a lion, a dog, someone comes and declares a Shadowless is going to come and end the kingship. And so there was a group of people who believed it, and those people get cast out, and it is the wandering people.
Okay, so they didn't actually revolt or anything. It's just because they believe that this is true, and they welcome it, which is interesting, because what are the repercussions of ending the king? Does that, if the king ends, because the king is tied to this mythical dragon that gives them all their magic, will everyone lose their shadows?
That's a good question.
I love it how you affirm me without giving me anything else.
Okay, so I have a question kind of along that. Okay, so we draw the parallel between the wandering and then the tribes of Israel wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. Are there any other biblical parallels that you want the reader to pull from the book?
I think those will come naturally. This book probably has, when I think about the trilogy, I think of book one sets up the problem, and book two is wrestling with the problem to find a solution, and book three is about implementing a solution. And so this one is really just laying the groundwork to then build upon. And so there will probably be a lot more allusions to that in book two than in book one. There is a little bit of a hint with the Israelites wandering. I also think about, like, in Africa, we partner with the Maasai people in Tanzania, and they also are nomadic and have to wander. And they do it because they're looking for water. But when they do land, the overruling government will often tell them to keep wandering. Like they want to keep them nomadic as a way of ruling over them. And so that is an interesting dynamic in Africa as well. And so, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But no, it's very much a kind of a nod or a wink at the Israelites wandering in the desert.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and I marked, there were some great quotes here where it says, this is Penelon talking to Rowena, where she says, when pressed with the need, every person will do magic, even if they know the costs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about people want what they want, and they want to do magic. They will forsake anything, truth included, for what they want. And I think that's a profound statement, because it's very true today that, you know, people want what they want. They want, I mean, it has applications even for different things that, you know, as believers, we would say is a sin. But if someone wants what they want, even if they know something is a sin, they know something is not right, they will find all kinds of ways to justify it, to make it right.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can do it. And that's kind of what Penelon is saying here. People don't care about the truth as much as they care about being able to satisfy their wants.
Yeah.
Because it's not needs, it's wants.
It's wants.
I marked this page as well, like this section here.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that this was really well said in a succinct way to like understand or get the reader to understand, because, you know, Rowena finds out the truth and she's like, we have to tell everybody immediately. And, you know, in this whole conversation, Penelon really is like, Rowena, the reaction to this information on a societal level is not what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And basically we can't just like red pill the whole town because it will just cause absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And
or will people even believe you?
Or even if they do, I mean, we've seen it in the news about things that get in real life, get released information, and like we as a society are just like, it's too big of a fact, so then you just kind of like shut it off.
And I think that will be one of the big themes that I explore, is that feeling of almost that helplessness of having a big truth that affects every single human, and people being like, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I just want to live my life. And
I'm like, really? Like, and that is just, I mean, I think that's something that we all feel. And I think that's something that people have, specifically Christians, have felt forever. And you see it in the Gospels, you see it in the New Testament of them, people, I mean, trying to spread the good news, and being widely rejected, but also accepted. But I mean, it truth is not always accepted. But then also, I mean, I've had a ton of, probably the most feedback I've had is from non-believers reading the book, who see parallels in their own life with parents who were, I mean, smoked until they died of lung cancer, or, you know, drink into oblivion and die of liver cancer. Like, this is very much not just a Christian theme. This is a worldwide thing where you can see this problem of like, I know that this is killing me, I'm going to do it anyways. Like, and like, in my own stupid way, like, I know my phone is poisoning my brain, I'm going to scroll anyways. And like, it just, I mean, this is the human problem of, even when we know the truth, it's not enough to get us to stop, because like, I want it.
Yeah.
And so that is, I see it as the human problem, in small, dumb ways and in huge, huge ways. So,
yeah, it's like that scripture that says, the things I want to do, I don't do, and the things I don't want to do, I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
It's paraphrasing.
And knowledge is not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. We wish it was enough, but obviously it's not. Otherwise, we'd all be much better.
Well, and even to the whole idea of like, this knowledge is not going to be received the way you want it to be received. Like, Rowena got super depressed at the implications. Like
the first two people she tells don't care.
Right.
Her dad and Titus, she tells, and they're like, what?
Yeah. So sometimes when you do find out these like in real world, in real life things that are truth, whether it be about the gospel or the government or whatever, like there, you know, you could compare it to so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you do realize that some of those things that are really unpleasant are real, and there's not much or anything you can do as an individual to change it, like ignorance is bliss in some ways like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because it can really affect you and make you, you know, person really depressed.
Yeah, hopeless. And that's really what she faces of the people she's closest to, her dad and Titus. She tells, thinking they'll be like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling. And they're like, it's natural. Like, it's human nature. And yeah, I like, that's where she's very much me, and that she just implodes and just takes to the bed and just cannot handle. Whereas Titus, when he wrestles with a hard truth, he explodes. And he handles it very differently because different personality types. Yeah.
Yeah, his is very external. I have to say, the whole scene with his owl from when the eulogy, like that just broke my heart. Like he's just the whole thing. Of course, I'm an animal lover. I'm like, I wouldn't have been as upset if Titus had killed over as I was with the poor little owl. Like, yeah. I mean, I know it's like with the movies, like kill as many people as you want, don't hurt the dog. You know? So, how is it as an author having people talk to you about your books? How is that after 6 years of writing this and then having people come and want to talk to you about what you wrote?
It's really nice. It's so surprising. Like, this lived on my computer. I mean, originally when I started this was just a hobby of just, I'm a creative. I paint, I dabble, I write, I do, and I thought this was just live on my computer. But once I really started getting chapters underway, I was like, I think I have something significant, and I knew I didn't have the skill to write it, and I needed to learn. And so it took me years to learn to write and how to craft a good book, and it was too long. And I talked to a lot of professionals getting advice and instruction on, okay, how do I take this huge book and now condense it? Because the excellent books don't waste words.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, every word matters. They don't waste, like, I get very frustrated now as a writer and having pared down a big novel and cut it in half by doing, like, called it literary liposuction of just like, how can I take this 10-page chapter and turn it into 5 pages?
Yeah.
Like, and so now when I read books that I'm like, this needed an editor, like this could have been an email. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it just, so it is very rewarding though, because it just lived on my computer. It was just me and this story that I loved and these characters that I loved, and no one, people were like, how are you doing this week? And I'd be like, I killed a main character. And like, they don't care. Or I'm over here and I'm like, I have a really good idea for something. And like, no one cares. No one knows. None of this means anything. And so the problem with, as a writer, is that there is, like, my husband's a pastor, so he writes a sermon and then he preaches it on Sunday and immediately gets feedback of like, that really helped me. That was so inspiring. Thank you so much. Or I write a book and years later I will get something, but like each day the writing with zero anything, like, is this gonna land? Is this gonna, what are people gonna think? Like, it was nerve-wracking. So to have it so well received finally after years, I'm like, I wasn't crazy. This wasn't just the rantings of a lunatic. Like, I actually did have something here. So I'm excited about book 2.
That's awesome.
You're excited about book 2. So I have to ask, tell us a little bit about your story. You mentioned that you were a counselor. You never grew up thinking, I'm going to be a writer and write a great American novel.
Never.
Tell us a little bit about
I have a theater background. I did theater in middle school, high school, and college, and shortly after college. I was classically trained at the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey as an apprentice. And so I was in creative work through acting. And so character work, story work, all of that I was doing through theater, which is a very collaborative art. And then I left the theater it was really heartbreaking to leave the theater because I loved it, but just you have a nomadic lifestyle as an actor if you're going to do it professionally. Like it's really hard to land in one place. And this is where, when you hear of actors get like a role in a reoccurring sitcom or something, they're so thrilled because they get to live in one place and they don't have to constantly move. And that's just not going to happen. It's just never going to happen. And so I left the theater kind of like, what do I do now? Through advice of other people and thinking about my personality type, I was like, I think counseling would be good. And I had been to counseling a lot. And so went and got my master's in counseling and worked as a counselor. And there's actually a lot of overlaps with acting and counseling in that you're thinking about characters, you're thinking about story. This is just real. And, but it was, looking back, I can see some overlaps. But I've always been doing creative stuff, like writing little plays that are never going to see the light of day, and like writing little poems that no one cares about, and like I don't feel like sharing. And so when I turned 30, I told my husband I'd like to write a book, and I figured it was going to be nonfiction. Like I just had that desire to write a book. He was like, why don't you do fiction? I was like, I'm not smart enough to do fiction. I think I could do nonfiction. And so I actually sat down and wrote like a couple chapters of a nonfiction, like part pastor's wife, part counselor, something, and put it away. And a couple months later, pulled it out to read what I had written. And I was like, no one needs this. No one wants this. Yuck. No, we're done. Like, delete. This is unhelpful to the world. Very self-indulgent, just memoir of like, who am I? Like, no one cares. And so just kind of put the book dream away, of like, told the Lord, like, that would be neat, and put it away. And so when the story idea popped in my head, I very much still felt like I am not smart enough to write fiction. And now, having written a book and working on book 2, I'm like, I'm still not smart enough to write fiction. And why did I choose to do multiple points of view in 3 books? Like, what was I thinking? Because it's hard. It's very hard. So no, none of this was planned.
I love the different POV. So, talk to us a little bit about your writing process. Do you have a process? Like, do you write so many words a day, or like?
No. I don't understand. I know this is a very common thing in author land, where they like have a goal of like, I'm trying to write, X amount of words a day. I can hit that goal easily. That doesn't mean that they're good words. Like, that's not a helpful measurement of progress for me. And so I outline first. I was just on a writing retreat working on the outline because I really like books, and specifically books like this that are very well structured, that have good pacing, that don't drag. Like, you can feel when you read a book that just, you're like, what is this about? Where are we going? Like, what? And so once the outline is, and I know where I'm going, and I know each of the beats, and I know each step, it's much easier to write it. And so I'm very much still in outlined land of, there's the first 16 chapters are written just to kind of get my head into it and get the emotional, but I've been very detailed outlining just to make sure that you never want your reader to be like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? And because I have so many things going on in different characters in different places, and in book 2 there will be time jumps and memories and stuff, and so that will be even more.
Oh, cool.
So I have to really have structure in place. So yeah, once I will be thrilled when the outline is complete. And so now it's drafting, which is the hardest part always, of taking an empty page, putting words on it. But then I get to edit, and that's fun because then you can like shape it into something worth reading. So yeah.
So, when you're writing, what kind of tools do you use? What softwares and whatever do you use when you're doing your outline and doing the draft? Like,
I do Microsoft Word. My outline is with sticky notes on the wall. It's kind of like buying a new notebook thinking it's going to like organize your life. Like, do you ever do? I do that all the time. I'm like, this is going to be the notebook.
This is the one
that fixes me. Like, this is, I'm going to meal plan. I'm going to have like a cleaning schedule. Like, this is, and it's never.
No.
And so a blank Word document and sticky notes to let me visualize where I'm going. But yeah, that's it.
So what has surprised you the most about the whole writing, publishing journey?
I started out, you guys seen You've Got Mail?
Mhm.
Kathleen Kelly, the shop around the corner.
Yes.
Just this magical, lovely dream about publishing. And it is not magical or lovely at all. It is just about money. Publishing is just about money. And it was very shocking to query my book to agents and editors. And like, I got rejected by 90 agents. 2 of them actually read what I submitted to them. The rest of them read my email, gave me a cut and paste form that they send everyone, like, thanks, but no thanks. It's not for me. Just to get a professional to read your thing is so hard. But the 2 that read it actually really liked it and considered it and were in talks with me and wound up passing because I'm a debut author and it's so difficult to start a debut author today. They really wait for you to. The new model is indie publish first, then traditional publish later.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you indie publish, you're never going to be traditionally published ever. And that's really changed. But the most shocking thing about publishing has just been all of my notions about publishing have been completely dashed.
Is that structure of like indie publish first have to do with the popularity of like Kindle Unlimited?
And social media, I think.
Well, and that.
I'm going to say something that's going to sound harsh. I think it's because publishers don't know what they're doing anymore. I think that there's a lack of vision. I think some of that is not their fault because the landscape is so varied.
Yeah.
And so you see this also in Hollywood too. I think story making in general, of what is the whole population going to like? And that is very hard to find something that everyone's going to like. And so you have to go into niches.
Yeah.
But now there's like a billion niches. And
Right.
so which niche is big enough to garner sales worth doing this? And so really publishers are just waiting of like, well, if they're already successful, we can just glom onto that.
Yeah.
And just put our money behind that. And so I get very frustrated because I'm like, well, believe in something. I was actually in talks with an agent who she's actually published some of my favorite books by some of my favorite authors, and she was very interested. And I was so thankful because she actually clearly read my book and like talked to me about it. And she's like, honestly, she wanted my main character to be Penelon. She's like, if it was Penelon's perspective primarily, we would have a book deal right now. But she passed because she's like, I don't have time to put into a debut author. I'm so sorry. But she's been in the business forever. I mean, she's been doing this for decades now. And so she still takes risks and like, whereas all these younger agents, you just see them not taking as many risks, just going with platform. Big thing is platform.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to me in fiction because who cares what the author's Instagram is like? Like,
right.
If they don't know how to write a good story, like, who cares?
Yeah, and then like the most popular like writers have to basically shut down their Instagram because then their fan base is too big and too crazy.
Yeah, but you see some of the big authors started out like on their own and got picked up. So like Sarah J. Maas famously, like that's how Throne of Glass got out there, was she had a fan base already and then got picked up.
Yeah.
And that is becoming the new norm.
Yeah, Penn Cole, the Kindred's Curse saga, same thing.
Yeah.
That's why Burn of the Everflame isn't coming out till sometime next year, we hope, because it got picked up. So now the publisher's like redoing, because it was supposed to be out
like a year ago.
Oh, really? Was
Yeah,
it a year? I thought it
so.
was this fall. It was supposed to be out, and then they said it was going to be out in February, and now who knows?
But it's really changed in the past, I would say, 5 years. So like I love to read books that were published like 15 years ago or more. But there was something in the past 10 to 5 years where publishing has just shifted very quickly. And I think the publishing industry is still trying to figure out the landscape. And so that has just been.
Well,
shocking.
There's evidence in that because in the last 5 years, bookstores are opening instead of closing.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
that's
COVID.
Barnes and Noble
COVID
closed
saved
of
bookstores.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pandemic
Book
saved.
Talk.
Yeah, and Book Talk and COVID saved bookstores because suddenly people were like, and the amount of people that I know who were like, I loved to read as a kid, and then I just stopped. But then the pandemic happened, and I started reading, and it was whatever series they picked up, and suddenly
They got you back into reading.
Got you back, and suddenly with social media helping, it's like now books are my personality. Like,
Yeah. Guilty.
100% guilty. Although I was already reading tons before that, but yeah.
So I guess you kind of answered. I was going to say, what's the most challenging thing about becoming an author? And I'm guessing you're going to say like the publishing process, getting it published.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I have been really thankful. The average book that gets published by a traditional publisher sells between 250 to 400 copies in the first year. The average book. That's not the books that you're seeing at Barnes and Noble. Those are all like the ones that are. But most books that are traditionally published never make it to Barnes and Noble. You can go and order it, but they're not ever going to make it on the shelves. And so I'm thankful that I'm actually hitting the targets for the average traditionally published book, that I'm like, okay, this is not a total flop. Like, I am actually making it. Like, it's not a New York Times bestseller, but like, this is being received and like is gaining a wider scope and stuff. And so I'm very thankful for that. But it has got me thinking of like, the dream had always been to be traditionally published, but the indie publishing thing is actually turning out to be pretty great. And so that's been sort of surprising of like, but the hard thing is that it is all on me. Like, it is all on me to do all of the things, which is challenging.
That makes sense, because you have to be like, not only do you have to write the book and get it published, but then you have to do the promotion and.
But traditionally, like, the publishing houses don't do any promotion. All of their marketing dollars are put towards their high ticket books. And so all of the bestsellers got 100% of the marketing. They like I would say probably 90% of books published by traditional, they put zero marketing dollars towards those books. It is
so you're doing it all yourself anyway.
It's all on the author.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the question of like, if I'm going to be doing that anyway,
right,
why would I only get 10% of the profits?
Right.
And let everyone else take the profits out of that. And so that's really why you're seeing a lot of really great indie authors coming out. And I'm just finding more and more really excellent indie authors who've discovered of like, why would I give my money to
You're
publishers?
just giving it away.
Brandon Sanderson discovered this, my favorite sci-fi author, of he's like, I'm just going to self-publish because I'm having to do all the work anyways. And so,
So
I didn't know that.
He's not with anyone, is he?
Not anymore. He's been doing his own stuff.
Wow.
And he did a Kickstarter campaign or something like that for a series that he did. And it's just, he's so big. He doesn't have to. Yeah, but that's becoming more the norm.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who have done some Kickstarters recently. Like, say, once you've got book 2 and 3, they'll do a Kickstarter to do a special edition omnibus of all of them. And I actually read an author called E.E. Holmes. She wrote the Rift Magic Saga, and I just found it on Libby.
Yeah.
So I was listening to it. I said, I like the way she writes. So I looked her up her website, and then saw that she had an omnibus for this other series that I haven't read yet, but that's the one that had the most talk or whatever on Goodreads. So I ordered it from her.
Jenna's
she emailed me. Jenna's really nice.
Jenna's TBR bookshelf, like,
at my house.
Oh my gosh, it's like I have to like really control myself to be like not green with envy, because it's books she has not read yet, and they're like the most gorgeous special editions, and I'm like,
no, I
and
like.
Then she'll be like, I ordered another one. I didn't have that. And meanwhile, I'm like, well, I'm going to the library, okay? So
I'm totally opposite. I want used books.
Oh, okay.
I don't need them to match. I don't need them to be pretty. I don't like sprayed edges.
You don't?
I don't.
Oh,
it's okay. I think that
I'll
like,
take yours.
I think the book girlies are like, I think we are the minority.
I think so too, because
like
I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna put it back out there for like.
Oh wow, yes, yeah.
Like,
you don't need to have the collection.
It cannot stay in my house. Like,
you're probably the purest reader of all then.
Yes.
Like you don't have to have the
She's a very
trophy.
generous reader
But
because
Yeah.
we're in book club together, and I'll be like, I didn't order it yet. I'm waiting for it from the library. Meredith will be like, I'll put it in your mailbox. I'm almost done.
But then, like, also, you know, if it's a bad book, I'm like, well, I can't let somebody see me putting it into the free library or whatever, because like I can't let them know that I read this. So then I have to like find some other way to like get rid of it. But like, you know, if like today I put The Fortunate Ones, that was like finally a book that I put back into the little free library, and I was like, anybody want this? It's good.
Oh, I don't know. I've always, I like those kind of things. But then books are important to me. Like I told you I have a little rabbit named Jacques Cousteau, because Jacques Cousteau is my childhood hero. Well, Jacques Cousteau wrote this book on whales a long time ago. It wasn't in print, and my parents, we lived in Brazil because my parents were missionaries, and my dad found a copy of that book at a bookstore in Paraguay. So he drove to Paraguay and bought that for me. I still have that book on my shelf. I thought I'd lost it at one point. I tore the house apart to find it.
That's a treasure.
So I do. I like the pretty books, and
now I have like books that are treasures, but like anyone looking at them would be like, it's just a book. But I was like, you don't understand. I read this copy of Count of Monte Cristo 3 times in high school. I dragged it everywhere I went.
Yeah.
It's humongous, and like it's falling apart, and it's treasure.
I love that. Well-loved book.
My complete works of Shakespeare is like that. It's falling to pieces.
Yeah. But I'm the opposite of you. My TBR, like I am committed to reading everything on my TBR before I'm allowed to buy another book.
I try.
And like I am making it through. I was at a bookshop earlier today dropping off a gift for some friends who own a bookshop who've been very generous to me to carry Shadowless. I'm like, are you gonna buy a book? I was like, I'm still on my book buying ban. They're like, I was like, I'll buy a Kindle case.
Was that at Bookmark?
It was at Bookmark, yeah.
Oh, Bookmark. Yeah, no, I've tried that, but like I've always got multiple books going at a time. Always a physical, something I'm listening to, and then in the Kindle, because Lorelai still sleeps with me. So if I'm in bed, the light bothers her more than my Kindle, because I can put it on dark mode. Yeah. So I'm trying to make my physical book that I'm reading is one that I've already got.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying. Okay. But then next week, I think I'm going to be reading The Night Circus again, because you're going to be reading that, right?
The Night Circus.
So
have you not read it?
I haven't yet. It's her favorite book.
It's so good.
So good. See?
I'm excited.
It's
hey,
so good.
Speaking of, you touched on our book preferences. And that made me think of, I don't know if this has anything to do with being traditionally or not traditionally published, or if it makes no impact, but will you, do you want to consider having this be like voice acted or like an audiobook?
So it's expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive to like hire someone to do it. And it's already expensive. Like as an indie author, I'm in charge, like everything's on my dime. And so it's just expensive getting it printed. Now, granted, I obviously sell for a profit and all of that, but that will probably happen after the trilogy is done. And I've talked to different voice actors. I'm making some relationships on Instagram with different readers and stuff. It's a dream. My good friends are like, you should do it. I'm like, no one wants to hear my voice. I don't want to hear my voice written under no circumstances. But I have a lot of people in my corner who are like, do the audio, you do it. And I'm like, yuck, gross. No, never.
I have one author friend that does her own. And I prefer to read a book.
Yeah.
But I do, especially if I'm commuting.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm commuting for an hour. That's an hour of reading time I could get.
Well, and honestly, some people at this point, they love to read. It's all audio. Like I have so many friends that are like, I will read it when it's on audio. I'm not ever going to sit down and read a physical book.
We have a friend in our book club that's like, if it's not on audio, I don't have time.
And I totally understand that. But no, not at this time.
So maybe in the future.
Yeah. If someone wants to bankroll me to do that, sure. But otherwise, no.
Yeah. Or you can find like a up and coming voice actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So,
Meredith, do you have all your questions?
yeah,
Um,
I think I got all mine.
pretty much. Were there any behind the scenes or anecdotes to share about the book?
I can't think of any. I know my husband, when I started doing this, my husband is a pastor, but his personality type, and also because he's a devoted Christian, he cannot lie. But even if he tries to lie, he's not physically capable of it. And so he was really nervous from the very beginning of like, what if it sucks? Like, how do I tell this woman who I have devoted my life to? Maybe we do something different. And so he was really nervous when I finished. I spent a year writing, and I gave him my first draft, and he was sweating bullets of like.
So he was more nervous to read it than you were to have him
Yes,
read it?
because he was like, if this is terrible, I have to tell her. And what is, and so his relief when he finished, he was like, I really liked it. He was so relieved. And then one of my dear friends, she read it when it was finally like in a finished, like this draft that you guys have in your hand. She read it, and she said that her husband, like she's in bed starting it, and he's like, what are you doing? It's going to ruin the friendship if you don't like that book.
Oh, no.
What are you thinking?
Oh.
And she's just like, no, it'll be great. And but also he was like, thank goodness she liked it. Like,
Okay, I can understand that. I'm nervous to read The Night Circus because
she loves it so much.
I mean,
I'm
I
sure I'll
lent
like it.
her my, it's a pretty version, but I have another like $100-something one that I got from the Folio Society. That's like, I'm not lending that
I did
out.
approve of that purchase because you love it. You talk about it all the time. You reread it all the time.
Although now, Acrylopix has a new version too.
See, I don't even know all these platforms.
Oh yeah, I'm a stalker.
Yeah,
I've got all the things.
See, I want the old crusty version that's been read by like 5 different people. Like that's the one. I don't, because it feels like it's like I'm discovering like a.
Do you like annotate in your books?
Probably not a ton. Like I see some people on Book Talk that are like
crazy.
Oh yeah.
Do you like tab it?
I don't tab it, but I have a highlighter and like I'll underline things or like write something in the margin. But with fiction, I mean, I will underline lines that like I loved, that really spoke to me.
That's what I do too.
Or something or if I read something and like I totally disagree on like a fundamental level and like I feel strongly, I'll be like, nope, in the margin. Like, nope. But nonfiction, I annotate fully and do a lot more.
I just started doing it, and I don't like to write in any of the books until I know I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
Or if I'm only going to lend it to somebody that's going to give it back to me. Because if it's one that's like, oh, that was a good time, I'm not going to read it again. I put it in a library or, so I want somebody else to have that. So I'll pull all my tabs out, put it in, or give it away or whatever. But
I embossed mine.
Oh, that's sweet.
And
I have one of those too. Yeah,
I love it. And Aubrea was saying she does it after she reads it, and I'm like, I do it right because I'm like, it's mine.
Oh no, it's after. Like I have read this. Here's my stamp of approval. It can now go on the shelf and not be.
And my level, I have 2 embossers. Okay, Alison. So to wrap up, where can we find your book? And it's being sold locally here? We're in Alabama.
Yes.
So
in Birmingham, Alabama, you can find it at Little Professor. In Homewood, you can find it at Bookmarks and Trustful, or Booked and Bound, the traveling book trailer, also has it. It's also in most of the Jefferson County libraries. But you can also go on my website, AlisonRobinsonWrites.com, Alison with 1 L. And you can get the same version that's sold in the bookshops. I sign it. You get it mailed directly from me. It's the same price as on Amazon. Or if you want to go on Amazon, you can get it in hardback, paperback, ebook, or Kindle Unlimited. I have every version but audio.
And with Christmas coming up, tell us who this book is appropriate for audience-wise.
Yes. So I would say 12 and up. Although I do have some younger readers, there's not really any content warnings. A very small little romance. It's sweet and wholesome. They hold hands and kiss once. And some violence, but not super graphic. So yeah, I have some of my biggest fans are 10 though. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it. And then for the future, you've told us that this is going to be a trilogy. Not holding you to it, but when do you think that the next book may be on the
my goal is to have the next book available next fall in 2026 is the goal. I have a lot of work to do, but the nice thing is being independently published is that once it's written, I can send it to my editor, who's a local friend of mine who has her own editing company, and then everything else can be very quick. So, and my cover artist is already working on the cover. So,
I love it. Okay, and then last but not least, if a book club or a bookstore or a book organization wanted to reach out to you to come and speak or something like that, how would, first of all, are you open to that?
Absolutely.
And then where would they reach you?
Yeah, so my website, AlisonRobinsonWrites.com. You can find me on Instagram at AlisonRobinsonWrites. Email me, direct message me, contact me, any of those ways, and I will probably say yes. Yeah.
And we'll put all that in the show notes for you as well.
Is there anything else that you want to add before?
Thank you so much.
Wrap up?
Thank you so much for reading. I'm always astounded when people actually it's hours of your life that you're giving to an author, and I do not take it lightly. And so thank you so much.
Well, it's hours of our life that you as an author give us as a gift to enjoy. So
I appreciate
thank you.
that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading.